So this is my recipe that I took some of the things I learned from my grandpa when I used to be in the kitchen with him. My grandma didn't cook that much. My grandpa cooked all the time. So when y'all talk about men don't supposed to be in the kitchen, this, that, the first chef I respected, the first person I knew that he would go to work and do about 12 hours and come home and he would still get a good meal is my grandpa. My grandma didn't have to cook. But now I did revise the recipe for those the vegetarians and the vegans. I still use, depending on who's coming to dinner. If it's just me and my kids, we still eat pork. I get me a smoked ham hock, or if I got my sisters coming over, my mom or someone that doesn't eat pork, I give me a smoked turkey tail. Now, for those of you who don't eat meat, but you still need that smoky flavor in your greens, lovely invention. Liquid smoke. Now, they do have the different flavors. This is almost gone. This is hickory. That's the hickory smoked flavor. And they got mesquite and everything. So choose which one you like. And I'm going to show you the process. So what I do is, the pot you're going to cook it in, bell pepper, onion, and celery. The mirepoix. The Holy Grail. Those three, I dice them up. I saute them. And then I actually cook them down until they're soft. And I let them simmer with the meat for about an hour. So the juice itself is well, and I put my four seasonings, my little four seasonings on it. I've been using white pepper a little more than I've been using black pepper. I don't know why. I just like the taste. I was told it was healthy. I haven't had time to do the research on if the white pepper is healthier than black pepper. They also have pink pepper too, so I haven't bought any of that yet. But now if you do cook the greens exactly like I show you to cook them, they will still taste as good with or without the meat in it. But it'll be more nutritious because the liquid that we're going to be using to season our greens with, that's the most important part. A lot of people skip out on that. Now, they were saying on the video on TikTok that they used to cook greens in a big house and then they gave the definition of the big house. Yeah, that's white people. Well, those white people back then did not eat the greens that the slaves grew and cooked, and they were not cooked in the big house. They did have one place on some plantations where they did community cooking, where you had a person that cooks for everyone, because most of the time, from the break of dawn to almost nighttime, you got the slaves that's on the plantation, either picking cotton, sugar cane, tobacco, or whatever, whichever plantation they were on. So they were busy doing that. So you can have 13, 14 different houses trying to cook, especially when they had a kid taking care of the slave kids. Back then we even grew up faster than we're growing up fast now. But we've been growing up fast. Our whole lineage has been growing up fast. We've always had some type of responsibility. But I looked up the recipe. Now, everybody has their own recipe on how they do it. It's not a secret. I'm not hiding anything from anyone. I can't gatekeep anything. My thing is, when I think about, and what makes me proud, and makes me feel some type of way about being a chef, is most of the food that we're eating today, most of the recipes that we're using and revising to your liking and your taste or your diet, came from the black chef that cooked in the big house. Now, they didn't just get anyone. They got Big Mama. Now, even though, contrary to popular belief, that the only people that was allowed in the big house, like the servants and everything, was the lighter skinned slave. The lighter skinned slaves didn't do as much cooking as the Big Mama did. Now, the Big Mama was always a heavy. They portrayed the Big Mama as a heavy set, dark skinned woman who had the sassiness, but nobody talked back to her, not even the master. And she running the whole kitchen and without her, the plantation would just fall to pieces and things like that. Is how it was portrayed, which I don't think they're completely wrong with their depiction of it. I just find it extremely hilarious with colorism that your preference is what you like and everything, and I don't knock people for what they like. What I don't like is if you're a dark-skinned man or a dark-skinned woman and you will never date a dark-skinned person, like what makes you exempt? Or if you're a light-skinned person who will never date a dark-skinned person, or it's just, we have put ourselves through so much and we have hated each other for so long, and we don't realize how wrong we are. We had an argument on Facebook one time about black only come in one color and this, that, and the third. I said I find that really, and now it only got one hair type and this, that, and the third. And I find that really funny because me and my 4 girls, you look at a picture of us and we're all 5 different shades of black. Yes, they do come in more than 5 shades. And I think all of us are beautiful. Well, my kids are extremely cute. I'm glad about that. But to have your kids have a healthy self-esteem without being an inconsiderate, conceited fucking jerk who goes around telling people you're not cute because you're this and you're that, or you're dark, or you're light, or you're tall, or you're fat, or you're skinny, is where the fuck we fuck up at. And this is what happens when black people pick up other people's habits. We have been told our whole existence that if you're not white, you're ugly, period. You got black women from back in the day that was phenomenal. I'm talking about vivacious, the beauty. You will not ever tell me with women like this that I'm ugly. And I'm like seeing these pictures of these women from back in the day and how they dressed and how they carried themselves. Now, we might act ugly sometimes. We do get out our element. But you're not going to tell me because... Now, this is just the bad part of the onion. You throw that away. You don't have to throw the whole onion away. You peel off that bad layer and keep going. That's another video, though. So, in order for us to be better as a fucking people, we actually have to be better to each other as a fucking people. Because the stuff I've been seeing lately about black men and women, about how black men and women treating their kids, and how the baggage from back in the day has stagnated people's lives and making them depressed and everything like that throws me off, because some curses can be fixed, some curses can be removed, but the work has to be done. You just can't say, well, I acknowledge that we have a problem, then leave it there. Because what's going to happen is that's going to pass down. And in order to fix a problem, besides stating that, okay, we have a problem, you also have to talk about how can we fix this? How can we make this better? You don't have to pay somebody to listen to you, but you do, if you do want your family to work, you will have to at least acknowledge that we need to start talking about this, and let's break the generational curses that's been put upon us from Willie Lynch. We didn't make this up. We didn't just wake up one day and not like each other. Now, what I'm doing today, this is the organic made from plants butters. So I've been doing just basically dabbling into the vegan foods to see what I like and what I don't like. I still need to add some dishes to my menu for when I have those type of people come to my home, or when I open my food stand back up. I'm gonna need a couple of dishes for them also. So I just been dabbling and checking out the different vegan foods and everything. So that's why I'm decided to use this today. Now I do saute. I get a little vegetable, a little EVOO, which is the extra virgin olive oil, and butter to saute my vegetables in. And what is that? I just had to put some in a jar because here you go. No matter jar, I had the container came in cracked, so I had to improvise and add a label to the corn because it was not that much corn oil left in there. So I'm drying my skillet out, my pot out now. Now this is exactly how I start my grains. You get your pot, oil and water. Oil. Make sure it's dry because we're gonna saute first. We're gonna saute the Oh, I didn't even want to. Do I got celery? Oh, I do. Let me do the celery real quick while it's drying. Now, depending on how many greens you're planning on cooking, you do not have to do a whole bell pepper and a whole onion. With me having just a 1 bushel, I actually don't need a bunch of bell peppers and onions to flavor it. But like I was saying, food is important to Black people for a lot of different reasons. It used to mean you saw your family more. People came over because you cooked. People kept in touch with family, kept in touch with what's going on new in their lives. We don't cook for that reason anymore. And we still probably do our Sunday dinners, but I ain't bringing no $3 in motherfuckers over my house. They don't have bring none, and she gonna bring that dude that I don't like, and our family is falling apart. Our Sunday dinners is null and void. So I'm gonna use about a tablespoon and a half of the butter. Because we're gonna be sauteing this until they're extremely soft. And see, butter does cook and it does burn. The oil I'm putting in here prevents it from getting all brown and fuzzy. I hate when my butter turns extremely brown. Do I got enough celery at the bottom of this? My refrigerator is just freezing my poor little veggies. Ugh. Now, what I did learn in my studies that, let's get to it's called pot liquor. So, now the source of vitamins that is in the collard greens or the greens is vitamin A, C, D, and E. Now, like I said, during the cooking process, we do lose some of the nutrients that's needed. I don't know why I'm using all these dishes. I gotta freaking wash them. I should have waited till it was her turn, till my daughter turned to wash dishes and made all this mess. But they use pot liquor and cornbread to sustain them. Those are the hardest working people, and those are always will be the hardest working people in America. Because I've never seen anyone do as much work for that long, especially for free. And they wasn't just passing out because they were hot and they were outside long. They found ways to sustain themselves and keep their energy up. And one of those that they used was pot liquor. You got people that would come. Someone was sick. Someone was starting to get sick. Someone was exhausted. Somebody was just too weak to get up, but they had no choice. They'll drink the pot liquor. And the pot liquor came from the actual stem of the greens. Now the butter does smell good. It did melt really nice, so I don't have a real big problem. What I'm gonna have to do is make some toast to see how it actually tastes on some toast. That'll be another video. But I don't mind switching the certain things I use or I eat with. If it's healthier for my kids, me and my kids, I don't mind switching over. You don't have to just stick with what's not healthy for you. It's like a relationship. If you ain't doing right, I'm gone. I don't have to stick with you. I don't have to, hold it. I'm just going to stick in there and I'm going to try my best to make it work. No, some things, just let it go. Some things ain't even worth the effort that you're putting in, because it takes two people to mess up or make a relationship work. So just like with food, if you want to get healthy, you got to have blood pressure. Stop eating bacon. Stop eating a lot of potatoes and starchy food. Stop eating a bunch of rice with everything. It's ways to fix certain things. You just got to put in the work. So I'm going to saute this until they're nice and translucent. Which I'm going to do it for about like 6 minutes. Now I will be able to, I'm going to post a picture of the recipe in the comment. I don't know exactly how to put it in the comment section. I'll figure it out. And then I also have the way I put in our soul food slow cook greens. It's called slow cook greens because you want to cook them slow because it takes so long. You don't want to keep boiling it. And then I also have the Greek recipe on how they cook their greens before it traveled from Greece to Virginia, Jamestown, is where they first started planting those greens at in the 1600s. I just enjoyed this class so much and I could not wait to share what I learned with you guys. I'm going to do a video on bagels next because I know people are gatekeeping bagels. Like, oh yeah, this is our invention. And they didn't, because the recipe for how to cook Ramsay's favorite food, which is called Ramsay's the second bread. Was it the second or third? Ramsay's bread. I forgot if it was the second or third because this was like almost a month ago when I did it. Basically, the recipe for that, they put it in his tomb just in case. They put some of the bread in his tomb also, so just in case he ran out of bread, he had the recipe to make more in the afterlife. And it was basically the first bagel ever from Africa, and the recipe itself. I do have pictures of the actual recipe on the hieroglyphic walls, which I thought was like extremely wonderful. We only supposed to went back about, they said go back about 100 years and find a recipe and see how much it has changed since then. And I was like, I'm gonna do you one better, because I'm curious on what they ate back in those days, just like I'm curious on what we ate as slaves, what we ate as kings and queens or socialites in Africa or any of that, because we're not actually meat eaters, because we mostly lived off the land. So us eating meat is something that was forced upon us and taught to us as a people because we had to survive. So we had to survive, and meat was what they used to make us survive with. But this is going to be one of my longest videos, because I want you guys to know the history of collard greens and what you guys were doing wrong when you cooked your collard greens. But I'm not saying you're doing it wrong, but if you wanted the nutrition from it, because that's what greens are supposed to be used for, the nutrition factor. And once you start cutting the stem off, and once you start adding certain liquids just to it to clean it or to tame it down and things like that, it throws the whole dish itself off. So now with this, now that it's getting soft like I like it, I'm going to season it. Now everybody know my 4 staple seasonings. You don't have to add just everything. Like sometimes some people like theirs a little spicy. Add your little red pepper flakes and let them cook. Now this is the part where I add my meat. Now the reason I didn't add the seasoning while I was sauteing the first time, because the seasoning cooks with it, and I didn't want the butter and oil for it to stick on the bottom. I didn't want, now that's the 5, that's a whole other story, but we don't need the fat to stick on the bottom right as soon as we start cooking it. We want to cook them first, then season it. Now, this is how I transform the recipe for vegans. Get your water, okay? Now, this is about 4 ounces of water, so it's about a half a cup of water. You add about a cap full of your liquid smoke. I don't usually measure for you guys. I'm going to add some liquid smoke to it. Okay? And that's how you get the smoky flavor that comes from the smoked meat that we normally use. So after I mix those together, I add another half a cup. And I let this simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes. And I just let it simmer before I add my greens. Because the more you cook it, the more enhanced the flavors get. So we're going to just let that simmer for about 45 minutes.